Good everybody, what is going on? I am Jeff, and today I want to talk about dream guitars. Now, there's a big difference between a dream guitar and a guitar that you're pining over. Gas is a real thing. We've all had it. I mean, I just went through with the Telly project I just picked up. I'm still kind of going through it. I really want an offset. I don't have one. I've never really owned one for an extended period of time. I did have a Squire J. Mascis Jazzmaster that I really love. Wish I didn't sell that one. And I did have a American vintage reissue 62 Jaguar a long time ago. I prefer the P90s. The Jazzmaster is more my speed, which we'll get into a whole story about that at some point in time. But I still really want an offset. But that's gas. That's something that I really want. It's not a dream guitar. I do have two dream guitars, and I am proud to say I actually own both of my dream guitars. And the very first one was one that I honestly never thought I would be able to afford, and they're like $2,500 more now than they were back then, which is a Alpine White Gibson Les Paul Custom. So this one, I'm surprised I own. To be honest, I had no intentions of ever actually owning this guitar. There was two music stores by me when I was younger that sold Les Pauls, or Gibson, I'm sorry. And one of them, the guy had one of these hanging up on the wall. It was his personal guitar. He had it up in his shop, and it wasn't for sale, but he had it next to all the guitars he was selling. And that's kind of when I finally fell in love with it. And I don't know what it was. Like, I love the block inlays, the Alpine White, the binding. I don't know. There was just something about an Alpine White Les Paul Custom that I loved. The diamond inlay. I don't know. There's just something about this guitar. Yes, this is the Gibson. I wanted this so badly. And I didn't think I'd ever have this. So I actually bought an Epiphone. I had an Epiphone, Alpine White, Les Paul Custom Epiphone. And I didn't really have it for that long. At the same time, I did have my first Les Paul, which was it was an Epiphone. It was a standard, I don't remember what it was. It wasn't traditional. It was kind of like a mix between, it was like kind of like a cherry burst, but it was darker. I don't remember what they called it. It wasn't like a honey burst, or no, honey burst was way lighter. It's more like a honey color. But it was like a cherry, but it was darker. I don't know how to explain it. It wasn't like a traditional, it was a weird sunburst color. I really loved it. It played great, and I had it for a very long time. And then I bought the Epiphone version, the custom, because I wanted a custom, and I didn't think I'd ever have one. And boy, was I disappointed. And one of the reasons I will say I did buy the Epiphone version is because I grew up listening to punk rock, and Lars from Rancid played an Alpine White Epiphone Les Paul Custom. It's like, well, man, if Lars plays one, it's got to be a good guitar. And I don't want to say that it wasn't a good guitar. I want to say it was a bad guitar, but it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what I was looking for. It wasn't the Gibson. So I didn't have it for too long. I sold it, traded, did something. I don't know. I got plenty of guitars back then, so I was always buying, selling, trading things away. And for years, I didn't think I'd ever actually be able to obtain it, because there were $3,000 back then. Back when I bought this is a 2003. Let me just double check, because I've had it for so long. Yes, it's a 2003. I've wanted one probably since like 99, 2000, when I happened to walk into that one guitar store. And I was in college. It was probably 2003, because I was at Penn State. I went to school at Penn State, Maine. I went to one of the local campuses for a couple years, and I moved down there. And I just happened to be in town, and I needed strings. So I went down to the guitar store, and I walk in, and lo and behold, this is hanging on the wall. $2,000. He says $2,000 cash out the door. And he got me a little bit, because this guy, I've bought plenty of guitars off in the past. Whenever he said cash out the door, that's what it cost me. I had $2,000. I went home, I did have it. I'd been saving for some time, not knowing what I wanted, but I had a stash. But I was in college, so like this was literally all of the money I had in the world. It was like I worked all summer, and this is what I saved. It was probably my beer money to drink at school. And I was like, don't sell it. I don't have anything on me. I was here to buy strings. Do not sell this. I will be back in 1 hour. I ran home. I came back with $2,000 cash, and then he charged me tax. Pennsylvania 6% sales tax, so it was $2,120 out the door. And I was a little pissed, because as I said, every time I ever bought a guitar from this guy, and he said cash out the door, that's what it was. It was that price. So if I gave him $2,000 cash, it was $2,000. I don't know what he did, if he worked it out in the books and charged me like $1,800 and put the rest in for tax, but Luckily I had a debit card, so I put the other 20 or 120 bucks on it, and I walked out the door with my 2003 Gibson Les Paul Custom. This was, again, something I never thought I was going to own. These are like 5,500 bucks now. I could probably sell this for more than I pay. Obviously, I can sell this for more than I paid right now. Like, this is the old school. It's got an ebony fretboard. Yeah, everything's original on it. I didn't, minus the strap locks. I have the buttons probably in the case, but I put gold Dunlop dual locks on there. So everything else is, it's stock. I mean, I wouldn't sell this though. I mean, there's some dings in it. There's some serious buckle rash going on in the back. This guitar has seen more blood and beer than probably all but one other of my guitars. Absolutely love this thing. I've played the hell out of this. It's probably one of the guitars that I probably will soon need a refret on because I've played the hell out of this thing. Now, you can see there's a bunch of guitars, a bunch of cases behind me. So I have a lot of guitars and I'm not a great player. But I did play this. There's probably 2 or 3 guitars that I own that I've played so much that I actually could probably use a refret on. And I've had this since it was new. Time of filming, it's 2025. So I've had this guitar for 22 years. I've played the absolute hell out of this thing. It could probably use at least a dressing. It might not need a full refret. They're not terrible. It actually feels like there's a ton of meat left on there. But if any of my guitars have frets that are so worn that they need any type of fret work, this would be one of them, just because I've owned it so long and played it so much. But this is one of my dream guitars that I never thought I would own. I mean, you're probably not coming through on camera, especially with the lights, but this is actually yellowed quite a bit over the years. Again, 22-year-old guitar. In person, it has yellowed quite a bit. It looks good in the natural sunlight. You can really see it, but yeah, I've owned this. I keep this in the case. I don't hang it on the wall. I probably have at some point hung this, but I don't hang Les Pauls anymore. I sold one actually. It broke in transit, but I had a 2012, 2013, I forget what year it was. It was a Guitar Center exclusive. I bought it secondhand. It was a gold top Les Paul with P90s that were coil tapped. It was a pretty cool guitar. Had a 50s neck on it. This is a big fat neck. I like the thicker necks. But I just never bonded with it. And we went on vacation. We're going on vacation. So I needed some money. That was kind of last in, first out. So I sold it. And then FedEx broke the headstock off. Got it fixed and ended up losing a ton of money in that. FedEx never paid out the claim. Whole story there. But I ended up finally selling it last year. I've had it for years and years and years. But I just never bonded with it. It was actually a really nice guitar. It was great. It was a shame that I got broken because the guy that I sold it to got a pretty good deal. I think I might have made like $100 on the guitar in the initial stuff. And what I bought it for, and then when I sold it for it after shipping and insurance, I think I made like $100. And then I ended up losing about $1,000 in the long run on that guitar between buying it, shipping it back and forth, paying for the repair, what I lost because it had a headstock break. But yeah, that was a great guitar, but I don't know where I went with this, completely off topic. Anyway, that's why I don't hang Les Pauls anymore, because even though hanging it isn't going to break it, I'm really, really paranoid about breaking a Les Paul headstock again, especially one of my dream guitars. Now let's pop into my second dream guitar, which I got probably 2 or 3 years after I got this. And that is going to be my 1976 Strat. So this guy, this was probably my first dream guitar. I love the CBS fat headstock, which is why when the Highway 1s came about, I think that was the second run. I think they did the first run, had the regular headstocks. The second runs, the Highway 1s had the fat headstocks. That's why I jumped on that, because it has the big fat 70s headstock on it. I love this guitar. This was actually... It was a local shop. We used to have a lot of guitar shops around my way. Now there's like a Guitar Center, which is the worst place in the world to go to. And there's like 2 down the street from my house, but both of them are pretty terrible. So I don't spend any time or money there. And there's like 2 good ones. One is the shop where my tailor is being, went out through to get my tailor fixed. But they don't really sell anything besides Taylor and Martin that I like. I don't like any of the electrics. They're a big, huge PRS dealer. I think they're actually one of the biggest PRS retailers in the country, but I hate PRS guitars, so not for me. Anyway, I digress. It was a local shop. It was called Wayne's World. It was a small shop. Me and my two other buddies, we used to buy stuff there all the time. Guitars, pedals, we'd trade with Wade. Everything we got set up, we'd take it to Wade. Really, really nice guy. Great tech. His setups were superb. They're awesome setups. So my buddy Matt had actually been down there earlier that day. We all worked together at the same store. And he came in, he's like, dude, you're going to hate me. I'm like, why? He's like, I'm going to make you go spend $1,200. I'm like, no, you're not. I'm not going to go spend $1,200. I don't really have $1,200 to spend. He's like, yeah, you're going to go spend $1,200. And he said, Wade has a 76 Strat. I was like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? He's like, yes, he's got a 76 Strat, $1,200. You got to go down there now. He said it's probably not going to stick around too long. So I left work. I was like, all right, you got this? Yeah. I took off. It was not far from work. It was probably a mile down the road, 2 miles down the road. We worked in Scranton. It was in like Greenridge, which is in the neighborhood in Scranton. So it wasn't that far. So I take off. I get there. I walk in. He's like, hey, Jeff, what's going on? I said, Wade, Matt was just here. He's like, yeah, he told you about the 76? Like, he told me about the 76. Pulled it down and done. Take my money, Wade. Take my money. Now, this does not have the original pickguard or pickups. This would have had a black pickguard. This had been swapped out for a white pickguard sometime in the 80s, he suspects, and he believes these are DiMarzios on there, but he wasn't 100% sure. He was looking if he ever found the original pickup and pickguard and pickups. He was going to let me know. Obviously, that never happened. I do have the original pickup tip or pickup selector tip, but yeah, it would have had a matching black pickguard, and you can see this does have the free bolt-on neck. But yeah, 70s era. I wasn't set on a 76. That wasn't the year I wanted. I knew I wanted a 70s Strat because I love the headstock, and I don't know, I just love Strats. I said this in my intro. At one point, I owned 6 or 7 Strats at the same time. I've probably owned 20 or 30 over the years total. I have 2. I have my 76 and I have my 06 Highway 1, both of which have big fat headstocks on them. But this one was no-brainer. I was about to sell an organ to buy this if I had to, because I really, really wanted a 70s era Strat. I love Strats. I still love Strats, although I do play Tellys a lot more now. Just putts around the house, and I would say it's probably because I don't play these as much because they're in the cases. It's a hassle. I mean, I got a couple of these lesser quality guitars, not lesser quality, less expensive guitars that I just hang on the wall that I can just grab. I grab the Telly. There's usually one Telly sitting right by the door. I'll grab the Highway 1. But when I grab these, I will play this. Like, now that this is out of the case and I'm holding it, I will probably be playing the 76 and the custom for the next week or two. I probably won't touch a Telly now. I will just keep grabbing these things because I absolutely love them. This thing, it has a smell to it. Even after all this time, it still smells like the case, and it smells exactly like it did when I bought this. Now, I bought the custom in 2003. I was in school. I was living at Penn State. This one, I was certainly home working, and I will say when I graduated from college, I worked 7 days a week. I was always doing side hustles, so I actually had quite a bit of money in my pocket back then. I lived at home, so I didn't have rent. I was paying a student loan, but I refinanced. My student loan interest was like 1.8%. Actually, I think it was like 1.4%, and it bumped up to 1.8 by the time I finally paid it off. But I was living at home. I had a car payment, student loan, and then whatever I was spending on tattoos, guitars, and booze. So I was actually had quite a bit of money. So even though I didn't necessarily want to spend $1,200 on a guitar at that point in time, when this was available, I more than happily spent my $1,200 on this thing, and I still can't believe I got this for $1,200. Now, it's certainly player's grade. There's a lot of nicks and dings and a ton of buckle rash on this thing, and I'm sure some of it is also from me because this is another one that I did play the ever-loving hell out of. But yeah, I couldn't say no to it. And yeah, I paid cash for this thing, but again, I was working tons of jobs. I was working at the store. I worked at the local baseball AAA team. At the time, they were the Red Barons. You might know them now as the Baby Yankees. I think they're called the Rail Riders, but at the time, they were the Philadelphia Phillies minor league team. Same stadium, different team now, minor league team for the New York Yankees. But I worked there, and I had friends that had different side hustles, so I was always detailing cars, doing landscaping, clearing brush, working at the store, working at the stadium. So I had tons of cash and had no problems throwing the $1,200 around then. Kind of wish I still had all that cash laying around. It'd be nice to pay off some big bills right now, like a mortgage. That'd be great. Anyway, ended up with my 76 Strat. Absolutely love this guitar. So out of all of my guitars, there's 3 that I will 100% never sell. My 03 Les Paul Custom, my 76 Strat, and the third one I can't actually show you right now because it is not back from being fixed, which would be my Taylor 310 CE. Funny story there. That was not a dream guitar initially. That was supposed to be a Gibson J45. That's what I wanted. It was mostly J45. I was kind of interested in Songwriter Deluxes, and I went everywhere, played a ton of them, all in the area, locally, down in Philly, up in New York. I played a bunch of them, and I never found one that I loved. Okay, I guess that's a lie. I found one at the Guitar Center in King of Prussia, but it was a vintage J45, and even my pockets could not afford that at the time, working nonstop. So I could not afford that. And then down the street from the store that we used to work at, there used to be yet another guitar store that is no longer in existence. And I walked in, there was a Taylor 310 CE on the wall. I picked it up, and I absolutely fell in love with it. I came back later that day, and I traded my Mesa Boogie Dual Rec towards the 310 CE, and the rest has been history. And hopefully, I have that back in my paws really soon. I checked, I think it was yesterday or the day before. Taylor has had that now for 5 weeks. That's when they called me. They said it would be about 6 weeks, and then they would be shipping it back. So hopefully it's on its way back across the country now, or it will be by the end of next week, because I'm really, really looking forward to get my Taylor back. Out of the 3 guitars that I just mentioned, those are the 3 that I would never sell. There's a plenty more behind me that I don't want to sell. There's plenty of them back there that really aren't worth much at all, but I would gladly sell all of the rest of my guitars to keep these 3. The 76, the Les Paul Custom, and the Taylor. Those are the 3 that the house was on fire. I'd run back in and I'd save those 3 guitars. The rest, I would not be happy, but I would let them burn to save those 3 guitars, because 2 of which were dream guitars that I'd been pining over for years, one of which I did not think I'd ever own. I never thought I'd own the Custom. That was just like a happy accident that I walked into the store to buy strings, and he had one. Actually, when I bought that, I just thought of this now. When I bought that, like that week or even days before, is when Gibson actually jumped up the MSRP from $3,000 to $3,300, and he had that one on sale for $2,000. So Gibson had just raised the price on it from $3,000 to $3,300, and he still had it for $2,000. So I got a hell of a deal on it, and that's why I ended up going home with it that day unexpectedly. So sometimes a pack of strings could be very, very expensive. So drop a comment down below. Let me know what your dream guitars are. What do you own? What's something you sold that you wish you didn't sell? Did you sell a dream guitar? Because that would be a huge bummer. I've sold guitars that I wish I didn't sell, but luckily none of them were like dream guitars that I've been pining over for years or never thought I would own. So did you sell one? Do you really regret that? Let me know down below. Let's start up a conversation, because yeah, I like to talk about this type of stuff, and my wife certainly has absolutely no interest in guitars, clothes, backpacks, all the things that I'm into. She doesn't care about. So yeah, let's start up a conversation down below. So I hope that was a bit entertaining at all. If you have any questions, comments, concern, want to call me a fool, drop them down below, or hit me up at the email address in the description box down below. Good night.